Hello there, and today is the day I do yet another science fiction universe that I have not actually covered on this, and I'm quite excited to cover a few episodes on it. And that is the Terminator universe, or universe is, because there are actually multiple. But more specifically, I want to talk about a character, a Terminator specifically, from the Terminator Sarah Connor Chronicles, and that is Chromartie. I want to actually go out on a limb here. I don't know if it's a popular or an unpopular opinion. Chromartie is a massively underrated Terminator. Massively underrated. Highly intelligent, highly skillful, highly adaptable. That machine was a literal killing machine, just like the T-800. The T-888, which is his exact model number, was perhaps an even better infiltrator. Incredibly robotic in a lot of his stances. Again, very systematic in his approach. At one point, literally going door to door, looking for John Connor and Sarah Connor and anyone else it's looking for. Initially, when we encounter this machine, it's actually posing as a school teacher, and it gets John to identify himself. It's hidden a gun inside of its own leg to get it into the school. He sneaks a gun in. Once John is identified, he attacks, chases him down, but that's when John is rescued by Cameron. Now, eventually, this Terminator is badly damaged. It's organics and it loses its flesh, and they travel through. They do this whole time travel thing, but they bring its head with them. Its body is left in the past and it's been a scrap heap. But once back, its head begins to remote operate the body from a distance. They're built to rebuild themselves, so it starts to rebuild. It then helps human scientists develop the technology to create synthetic organic tissue, and we see him in all of his glory rebuilt as a endoskeleton, where he gets in a bath and gets all nice and fleshy covered, and then kills the scientist and anybody else involved and wipes out the formula because don't want the meatbag humans to have that technology. And then once again embarks on his killing spree to one of the most epic fight scenes in the Terminator franchise ever. And you don't even see much of it. Most of it is actually implied, but it is all done to When the Man Comes Around by Johnny Cash, where he fights off a load of FBI one by one, knocking them down, killing them, throwing them into a pool, but eventually only sparing Agent Ellison at the end because he thinks he can use him to lead him to Sarah and John Connor. And it is just epic to see this guy mow his way through meatbag after meatbag and just keep on going. He is eventually supposedly neutralized and his chip is destroyed, but when his body is buried, Ellison goes back and recovers it for what he doesn't know is actually a T-1001 and the John Henry program, which is being created to counter Skynet, although at the time they think it might actually become Skynet. And John Henry is actually hooked up to this body and then carries on talking through it. But the chip has been destroyed, so the Chromartie Terminator is actually destroyed. Now that's in a nutshell. That's brief. He does so much more in the show, but it demonstrates just how insidious seeing a single Terminator for such a long period. It wasn't just bad guy of the week, because a lot of the Terminators in that, they were just villain of the week almost, and they were knocked out by Cameron or destroyed. But Chromartie, despite just being a standard T-888, not even anything particularly special, he even destroys another Terminator at one point because that Terminator was going after Ellison and he wanted him alive. It just shows what these things can do to achieve their target, how menacing, how dangerous they really are, and what humanity is actually facing during the future war when just one of these things is unleashed on an unsuspecting population, how easily it can conceal itself and hide and camouflage. Something we actually see done very effectively by multiple Terminators in that era. But that, again, is Chromartie in a nutshell. A Terminator that changed appearances throughout the show, was able to work with humans as well as kill them, and shows that the majority of interactions that a Terminator would have, unless it's actually at the point of reaching its target, it doesn't have to just kill. Of course, when they're in an open battlefield, they see any human, they're going to kill them. Damn those meatbags. But in its day-to-day, this infiltration unit demonstrated just how lethal, intelligent, manipulative, and dangerous a single Terminator really can be. And I think the performance and by the actor and the actual character is easily up there with the original Terminators that we came to know and fear. And with that said, let me know what you think about it. Have you seen the Terminator Chronicles? The Sarah Connor Chronicles, rather? It is actually a massively underrated show, cancelled way before its time. It did go off the rails a little bit towards the end, but hopefully I'll do a few more videos on this and we'll cover that. But what do you think of Chromartie as a series antagonist? They didn't even particularly need to update the Terminator. It's not like they thought, well, we need to make it has to be a T-1000. No, they just went, no, we'll make it a T-888 so it can give it a few extra features like the ability to rebuild itself. But nothing as extreme as the TX. But the menace he was able to put out just with a glance, with a look, the feeling you got of absolutely nothing back from his eyes was incredible. What do you guys think of it anyway? If you've seen it, let me know in the comment section down below. If you missed the show, should have got more. What do you think of Chromartie as a villain overall? If you made it all to the end of the video, I thank you for watching. Bye bye.